Is there political will to legalize sex work in South Africa? Does the religious community recognize sex work? What is SWEAT's position on the decriminalization of sex work? And why is it important for sex workers to access HIV treatment? What time is it? It is question time. Welcome to Question Time. My name is Mpho Tsedu. The recent launch of the National Sex Worker HIV Plan by Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa was hailed as a historic milestone by the Sex Workers Education and Advocacy Taskforce, or SWEAT as it is called. The plan includes the provision of pre-exposure and early treatment for sex workers as core components of the healthcare package. However, Ramaphosa reiterated that decriminalization of sex work is the next step towards protecting sex workers and their clients from HIV and other public health concerns. We are live. Therefore, you can call us. Air your views. The numbers to dial 089-110-4210. Our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. My guest today, Mruti Kenneth Mishwa. He is the leader of the African Christian Democratic Party, ACDP. And then Katle Horasbitze is a representative of both SWEAT, which is Sex Workers Education and Advocacy Task Force, and Sisonke Movement. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Now, let me start with you.
Yes.
Because what happened at the launch
yes,
was something which a lot of people were quite surprised, that what is the Deputy President talking about? Since when is prostitution work? And all that.
What the Deputy President did on that day, I would like to salute him for that.
Okay.
Because based on our law, remember, sex work is criminalized in South Africa, and it's a very old law. The law that was formed, we're talking 1957, which is like a 59-year-old law, whereby like it was an apartheid law, by then the Bill of Rights, Bill of Rights, so we feel as a movement that it's high time that also women who are sex workers, including males and females, their rights are also enshrined in the Constitution of South Africa. We should bring a more human face into South Africa.
Which right in particular are we talking about here?
Remember, right to choose, right to trade, right to profession. And remember, one thing for sure, we should also remove the stigma, because we're not here to discuss about prostitution, as you said. I'm here to speak about sex work as work. People who see sex work as a 9-to-5 job.
Not like
prostitution, as you said. I believe that's what the media feeds you guys, that we're here to speak about prostitution. But we're talking about people who see this as work.
Who do you represent?
I represent Sisonke National Sex Workers Movement, and I represent SWEAT. And I'm doing advocacy point, and not only doing that, we're making sure, for example, the very same people that we have outcasted them. Remember, the Bible says, Jesus said to them, whoever that who said, Agana sono maka shayang eliche. What South Africa does today, but shayang eliche, for point's sake. Number one, who has ever made sure that sex workers are, like, for example, PrEP? For now, PrEP is being given to sex workers free of charge, of which we feel like as a movement, we do not want sex workers to be treated like the alien nation. We want them.
But you know what? You made a remark here. Basi Shayang Eliche.
Yes.
That's fine. Which, I just want to translate it to some of our viewers. Basically, they are casting stones on us. Right?
Yes.
Now, I want us to talk about the us.
The us we're going to speak about, Mpone.
All right.
Listen. When you're an activist, you do not say they or them. You say we. So I'm sitting here from the sex workers' point of view as an activist. I would say to you, the police, Basi Sesha, I'm a handbag.
Are you a sex worker, Katleho?
Number one, I'm not a sex worker.
Okay.
I am an advocacy person who represents sex workers.
All right. Datemrut.
Yes, sir.
There you have it. SWEAT says sex work is work and live with it.
Well, those who are saying prostitution is sex work are trying to glamorize what does not have glamour. Those who say it is a profession or a trade are out of order. They are trying to do something that Africans will not believe and accept. Prostitution does not help build families. That is why those that are involved in prostitution, when young children ask them, where do you work? Where do we get money from? They will never say, I'm in the profession called sex workers profession. They will not say that because there is shame that is part of this. Even though I hear prostitutes are saying, treat us with respect. Okay, let's respect people. But the behavior and the lifestyle is something that does not even give them joy. That is why many of them are involved even in drugs. Now, I believe they do that to make the conscience numb it, let it be quiet, then let there be no shame, because every human being, normal human being, must have shame. I mean, if you are going to feel happy when you undress yourself before any man that can afford a price, I mean, there's no sense of self-respect in that. So I believe those who are saying this is a trade, a profession, they must answer the question. When schools or school children are talking about career guidance, are you going to say this is also one of the career guidance? You place it next to science, next to medical science, sociology, and other professions. You can never do that because it is really not a profession. It is just a lifestyle that is sinful in the eyes of many Christians.
Mbo, you know what he raised, it really makes my blood to boil. Number one, he preferred this as a career that you can. Remember, at Sisonke, we work with self-identified sex workers. We do not recruit. Self-identified sex workers, we provide services for them, which are the health services, the legal right. We have partners with Women Legal Center, who does offer that service in South Africa. We have partners with the Vets RHI, which is a University of Johannesburg, University of Vets Age and Reproductive,
health.
Yes.
Okay.
We have partnered with that, but we do not recruit. Number one, those who are already above 18, self-identified, we make sure that we are making sure their basic human rights are being protected. You know, the right, for example, the right to dignity. Have you been to those brothels? Do you know what the impact criminalization has done to these girls? They are forced to work on high heels in 12 hours because today the manager said, no, you need to wear miniskirts, you need to wear G-strings.
But who becomes the manager here? How do you,
exactly
when you do not own the resources that I'm using?
Listen, because of the impact of criminalization of sex work in South Africa,
yes.
We find, whether we like it or not, I know it's a better pick for South Africans not to swallow, but we still find brothels.
Yes, that's true.
So, Sisonge point of view, we want such brothels to be correctly ordained, whereby like sex workers are able to do the same thing, but whereby the environment is clean. We can also, like, if she's pregnant, she's able to apply for leave. There's gonna be a manager. It's a 9-to-5 job. Because this is a very old industry. It's biblically, Jesus used to hang around with these people.
There you have it.
Now, two things. He referred to Jesus twice.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with the last one. Jesus used to hang around these people for the purpose of changing them, number one. For the purpose of saving them and showing them a better life. That's the first one. Initially said, Jesus said, he who does not have sin
let him cast the first
stone. The first stone.
Right. But what he does not say is that the same Jesus, after talking to that lady, asking her, where are those who are accusing you? He said to them, his concluding words were, go and sin no more. So people must not just quote Jesus when he said, he who does not have sin
We are
must
not
throw
all
the first
Christians,
stone. But he
so-
also said,
But
no,
we're not all Christian, Pastor.
I
I don't know
agree with
whether
you.
we're not all Christians.
Do not be selective. Do not
Yeah,
be,
but
if you
we cannot be bringing morality on the fact that police are still, I know there are good cops out there. Police are still taking bribes from these girls. Because of they're using the bylaws to arrest them. That because I'm arresting you, admission of guilt, then you sign, then you've got the
What
criminal.
are the charges there?
The charges, it's either it's loitering or making noise, drinking, driving, or just disturbing the traffic.
Okay, hold it there. I want us to take a quick break. When we return, the Deputy President launched this program, which means government recognizes this particular sector. We'll talk about that. The numbers to dial 089-110-4210. We shall return.
As stories are broken around the world, SABC makes sure you do not miss out. As the stories unfold throughout the day, News at 8 updates all newsworthy stories worldwide. Globally, we are there. Locally, we leave no story untold. Make a date with News at 8 every Saturday and Sunday on SABC News, Africa's news leader.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today, Reverend Kenneth Misho, is the leader of the African Christian Democratic Party. Katlego Rasibitse is a representative of SWEAT, which is Sex Workers Education and Advocacy Taskforce, and also Sisonke Movement. Francois, you are in the Eastern Cape. Welcome.
Good day. Good evening, Paul. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the call, Francois.
Bless you, and also your guest there, the Honorable Pastor Meshwe there, and your guest.
Yes.
And Paul, as a Christian, a believer, and not just a believer and a Christian, but a child of God, watching the program about what's happening in our beautiful country, one cannot help but, the question just popping up in your mind, in your spirit. Is God really considered in all this? What is happening in our country, first and foremost? Secondly, are there such things as morals, moral values, or morality in our country? And also, what I think, the only thing that, the government need only now to do, or that is left that needs to be done, or is going to be done in any case, is tomorrow they might just, it might be a news flash that pornography is also, legalized. Because the only thing that is now, evil and which is being fought and you criminalized is actually pornography. Now, I would ask, what about the 75% Christians living in our country and be quiet and, decisions are being taken on their behalf? This is my question.
Okay.
Thank you and bless you.
Thank you very much. I'll pose the question to both of you. But let's start with you. Is there God and morals in this business?
His name is Francois.
Yes.
Francois.
Yes.
Oh, Francois. I will just tell you one thing. When these girls are raped by their clients and they want to report to the police, and the police will say, because you are a sex worker, you cannot be raped because this is what, is there God being considered in that? When the same girls again approaching for justice and there's injustice, is there God say anything about that? So if as the people we do not stand up and we destigmatize the communities that beggar, if it's my body, it's my choice. Remember, Bill of Rights, what happened to the Bill of Rights?
Okay, that's fine. Rev?
Francois is asking an important question. South Africa is in a mess because God is not considered. If South Africans, particularly lawmakers, if they would consider whether what they're doing is, number one, in the best interest of the health and prosperity of the nation, and secondly, whether that would be pleasing to God or not. I understand that everybody's not a Christian, but the fact is, we need the blessing of God. Even people who are not Christians, when they're in trouble, they say, please pray for me, when they're in trouble, because they know that God does help. So we want to appeal, even using this forum, to government, to listen to what people are saying in asking the question, is God considered? And I'm saying God has to be acknowledged. He has to be considered in what we do. If we make laws that are in line with his plan for mankind, then our country will be much better. Relations between people would be much, much better than we're experiencing today.
Dougie, you are in the Val. Welcome.
Welcome. How are you, my friend?
I'm well. Thank you very much for the call, Dougie.
Yeah, okay. I want to make that guy's blood boil a little bit more. He said he's getting his blood boiled, so let's boil it a little bit more for him.
Okay.
Number one, you cannot say what is wrong is right. And you can't say things that are right is wrong.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter how you look at this. A person themselves know that it's wrong, because they will not promote themselves to be belittled like that in front of, like our Reverend has mentioned, in front of their family or children or whatever the case is. They will not allow them to be belittled like that. Because as soon as they say it to their children, what happens to those children? It's another generation that's growing up to be what?
Okay.
And I take my hat off for the ACDP. It's my party. I vote for it.
Okay.
So, I am glad to see that they on TV for a change and making their voice known. Because I think it's high time we started to get Christian parties in Parliament, in government. Not in Parliament, they're there, but they're not enough.
Okay.
And we need people to start voting. The Christians in this country must start voting for the ACDP.
Okay,
and let them start having that voice, that what is wrong and what is right is right.
Okay, Dougie, thank you very much for the call. Let's have a look at some of our tweets here and see what our viewers are saying. Kwanda Malchas, why is the leader of the ACDP referring to sex workers as these people, as if they are animals or something? Well, he'll answer for himself. Marlele Maruleke says, morality doesn't put bread on the table. Rev must stop with his high moral sentiments. Prostitution must be decriminalized. Okay. Gosnati George then says, Reverend says school will never be told, I guess school kids will never be told about this profession. At school, you'll never be told about cleaners as a profession. Okay, I guess this is somebody in support. Komisale Buchilwane says, it's prostitution. It should not be legalized. If it was work, it would have a trade union. Well, I guess you are becoming one. Eh?
Mamela. We do not push for legalization of sex work. It doesn't work in America. So why should we see a model that already failed the Americans, we bring it into Africa?
Okay.
Our point, if we total decriminalize the sex work, I've mentioned the fact in Poyo show, it's just a 30-minute show. We put a total decriminalization of sex work, it will work for us South Africans.
How so?
How so?
How do I benefit?
Here are the facts.
Okay.
Once we put total decrim,
yes.
Number one, sex workers, nurses are able also to be sensitized that abakhulumi nabo kanjani yazi lo mahosha uphindile azolanda ama condom kodwa ngimnikile kanti wena sisi STI ayipheli kuwe, because they know that what they are doing it's law and they shouldn't talk somehow nabantomozana.
Okay. Things
like that. Number two, the police will not be searching bags, mabathwala ama condom, they use them as evidence about kusho ukuthi ufuna ukukhotsha siyakubopha, here's the evidence. You see. Number three, I can mention until you know.
Okay, no, that's fine. Let's not go on. But it would appear, Rev, there's a demand out there. These people are servicing people who are coming for these services.
Well, obviously, there are people who use such services. Nobody denies that. But what we are questioning and what we are rejecting is to try and make this thing, let me call it a thing, this practice, okay. You try and make people say this thing is okay. When you say you are going to try and
Criminalize.
well, decriminalize is one thing. India has decriminalized prostitution.
And it's working for India.
It's not working for
It is working for India because in India, Pastor, sex workers, they are able to run their millions and and take imali. They are able to take their kids to universities because of that in India.
Let me tell you what you will not tell you.
Okay.
No, tell me what I don't know.
Let me tell you what you will not tell them.
Okay, bring it on.
They
Pastor.
are also using kids. And when these kids who are underage, get need treatment because of their underage. These children are not given treatment because they are scared that they are going to be arrested. Okay? So they are children. When you make prostitution legal, you cannot keep out children.
I've been to India, Pastor. There's no way that they use children to do that.
Now, listen.
Let me take Sizwe. He's been holding on for quite some time. You are in Mangaung, Sizwe. Welcome.
Evening, Pro. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for the call, Sizwe.
Yes, evening to the Rev and Katleho there.
Yes.
I just wanted to say to Katleho specifically and the Reverend as well. See, the problem here is not that people are being abused or so. That in itself is a separate crime. The biggest problem is that we are justifying something that is never mind morally but practically incorrect. Because when Katleho says decriminalize it, then what are we commodifying in women? You see, it's not labor, it's not work. Because see, when you go to work, we judge you based on your ability
and performance
to stay in front of the TV, how you present yourself. Now, if we're saying sex work is a commodity, how do we measure it? So now we're actually dignifying them legally, which then defies the whole logic of them sitting there. So we should first take notice of that and say the problem here is the problem that we do in South Africa: unemployment, inequality. Deal with those effectively.
Okay.
And say to those people, let's find alternatives. He's sitting there saying he works with this RHI for this, but instead of protecting something that should not be protected, should be finding alternatives that will put them in a better stream of work. Which we can protect and they can be proud of themselves.
Thank you very much, Sizwe. Let me allow you to respond there.
Okay, I'm responding to the caller now.
Yes.
For the fact that, I don't want to be brutal on your show. For the fact that as South African, we acknowledge gay rights. We acknowledge women should start doing abortion. Why now sex work? I'm not here to score any political points. Why sex work now? Everyone's going gaga that Cyril Ramaphosa, that and that and that. This is the best plan ever. No movement, no political party, no president has ever bring this into South Africa. Whereby, like, as a HIV negative sex workers, you are able to be given a tablet that will protect you before you're going to have sex. It has never happened in South Africa.
History, Reverend.
Now, listen, he's correct that abortion has been legalized, but that does not mean that government was right in doing that. What is interesting is to note that when abortion law was passed, fortunately I was in Parliament, the majority even of the ruling party were opposed to that. There are powers outside, okay, who are pulling strings. There are funders outside. There are countries, IMF, one of them. If you want help, if you want to access all the resources that are available, you need to legalize abortion on demand. You need to legalize homosexual marriages. South Africans were opposed to that. But because the government wants money from outside, they allow the outside forces to dictate to South Africans. South Africans don't agree with abortion on demand, the majority. They don't agree with homosexual marriages. They don't even agree with prostitution. So prostitution should not be legalized because South Africans don't like it.
All right. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Yeah, unfortunately, let's hope we'll get some more time to deal with this.
Yeah, but he mentioned, are we out?
Not yet. So let me wrap up first.
Okay.
All righty. But that was question time. A big thank you to my guest and to you for watching the show. Have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.